classification is really a social category recognized by the United States and does not attempt to define race by. This is what our people need to understand. But they don't, and they fight, 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 and they fight. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. It says here, since 1997, Mustafa, this seems to be an Israelites website, and I do not want to, mince this up with anything dealing with dogma or religion. So we want to skip those parts. It says, since 1997, Mustafa Hefny has been suing the U.S. government because when Hefny immigrated to America, the U.S. government told him he was no longer a black man. This is because, according to the U.S. racial system of classification, we're not supposed to realize that Egypt is in Africa, just that it is in the Middle East. And see, this is why, and this is probably why I shouldn't even came to this particular article, because this is from somebody who thinks that they're black, and they do not comprehend that, just like the government is telling you, it's a social political construct. It has nothing to do with biological identity whatsoever. It is a status at law. And this is what Moors have been trying to tell people. And this is why I say my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters need to get their act together and stop kicking dogma and stop identifying themselves with these slave identities, yet you say that you are a part of a nation. So we're going to skip this. Either way it goes, Mustafa Hefny, this brother here, all right, has origins in the original people of North Africa. He had to be determined as white as a social political status. It has nothing to do with skin tone whatsoever. Even the so-called average white person, so-called white person, would call him black. So this is just due to a lack of comprehension of civics, period. All right, so let's go on back to his stories. So basically, we got two brothers who have arguments of the separate ends of the spectrum. One is being him true self, and one came over as his true self and is trying to take on a slave identity. And if you look into Mustafa Hefny, you go on to see that they end up telling him this, that you are trying to take on a slave identity. You have a history. These people do not. All right. So the thing is, why brother East L has to sue UPS, and why we no longer need to support UPS is because they are practicing denationalization. They're trying to denationalize the brother East L, and they wanted him to classify himself as a Negro, a black, and a colored, 3/5 of a man. That's what they wanted him to do. That's exactly what they want him to do. And see, what people need to comprehend, even if you want to go along with the narrative that so-called black men and women, so-called African Americans, come from Africa, what you have to understand is that there are 54 different countries in Africa. They have different languages, they have different cultures, they have different religions, they have free national names, they have law, they have flags, they have constitutions. So even if you go along with the narrative that you were brought over here on a slave ship from Africa, right? That means that before these people categorized you commercially as Negro, black, colored, and African American, you were called something else. Tutsi, I don't know, Fulani, Ashanti, the Kente clan, whatever the case may be, you had a true free national name, and it was not black, which is a Germanic Anglo-Saxon word, brothers and sisters, that translates to black. To pale. I'm sorry. Translates to pale. P-A-E-L. Okay. Has nothing to do with you whatsoever at all. You must have your proper legal status. And that's all this brother was establishing with them, what his social political status was. And they had an issue with that because he's supposed to be a good step and fetching Negro. Let's go on. It says, the suit says Eastdale ended up selecting white, which we already went over, which under federal directive is defined as people with origins from Europe, North Africa, or the Middle East. So we've already got that established why the brother chose what he chose, right? All right, it says UPS declined to comment on the suit, citing the pending litigation, but said its workplace is free from all forms of discrimination. No, we have found that to be a lie. UPS, you are liars. You are lying. You are lying. And due to this is what I want to say before I go on and finish this, because this little lie that they have here. What we have to understand is if they do this to Brother East L, then they have injured all of us. If they've injured East L, they've injured all of us. This is what we need to comprehend as Moors. They've injured all of us. So, with that being the case, even though you may not be in Portland, Oregon, where Brother East L is at, you might be in Ohio, you might be in California, you might be in New Jersey, you might be in New York, you might be in New Mexico. But I say that they've injured us all, and I say that we are not to do any business with UPS whatsoever until this issue is properly resolved, because they do practice discrimination. They wanted this brother to brand himself with death, 3/5 of a man, with slavery is what they wanted him to do. And you cannot have a noble title as L and be branded as Negro, black, color. That is so disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. And what makes it even bad, you know what? This same thing has happened to me before. I've experienced this same type of discrimination before. Yes, your brother, JudahSon, El has experienced the same exact discrimination. I remember one time my father, I can say this now, he retired from Rigid Tool. You probably see a lot of their stuff in Home Depot. You may see it in Lowe's. Rigid Tool. R as in run, I as in Indian, D as in dog, I think. G as in girl, I as in Indian, D as in dog. Tool, Tool. Or it might be RIGID, TOOL. But so I fill out an application, use my name, L, right? Resume turned in and everything. And I get an interview just off the bat that my father has been there for over 30-something years. So I get an interview, fill out the application, all that stuff. Get there, advise them that, I put on there, I marked that I'm white, and I never heard nothing back from them whatsoever at all. I marked down the same thing that he did. And do you know how much ridicule that I got from my mother from actually writing that down on there and trying to be myself? You see, and this is why I say Moors have no business even going to work for these people in the first place. If you're a Moor, that says that you're a master. That means that you need to truly be a master of yourself and not have to go beg this man for a job. Period. And they say they don't practice discrimination. Yes, the hell you do, UPS. You practice discrimination.